It's with music as well. I love Daft Punk. I just like, wow, the noise sounds nice. Like, I like the noise. You know what I mean? Is that weird? I think I actually am like a caveman when it comes to music. I'm like, ooh, the beeps and the boops are very pleasing.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Picture this. You're watching your favorite anime all alone in your room because you are an anime fan after all. Tensions are high, everything is going wrong, and just when you think the main character is going to give up, you hear a familiar track start to play in the background. And just when you think it can't get any hyper, you hear it. Every anime fan gets to that point in their anime journey where they start to look more into the music. I remember my first time hearing Wind from Naruto and just getting this greater feeling of this amazing journey to come. We all know that feeling of listening to the Tokyo Ghoul opening on repeat, trying to sing and learn the lyrics only to stop and think, damn, there's no way this isn't racist. No, just me? All jokes aside, my point is, music really matters. Even if you can't understand the language, it can single-handedly be the thing that gets you into a certain anime. But because I saw that abysmal clip from the start of this video, I decided to make a video in order to shine a spotlight onto some of the best music moments in anime and just go over why it's so critical in making a good show. So let's hop into it. So to start off, I'll answer this question. How much does a soundtrack matter? I think the answer varies, but for me, it's just as important as something like animation or story. If I were to ask you what your favorite or most memorable scene in anime is, there would be a pretty good chance that there will be an insert song playing in that moment. Off the top of my head, You Say Run from My Hero Academia, the Angel Beats ending song, or the peak of all anime music accompanied with the greatest anime of all time. Just for the sake of my family, I need to clarify that that is a joke. My point is, whether good or bad, music always makes a scene more emotional. When this song plays, how do you feel, anime fans? And there's my point. If 90% of you are uncontrollably crying right now, it's because you know that is the Anohana ending song. It's just so emotional. And using an insert song like that is one of the most common uses of music to invoke emotion in anime. And that's something that's pretty unique to anime, because if you did things like character themes or ending songs in a real live action show, it would just seem kind of out of place and cheesy.
A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
If you wanna see some action, gotta be the center of attraction.
But because you already have to suspend disbelief because you're literally watching a cartoon, they're able to use the same song to invoke the same emotion. And after hearing these songs so many times over and over, you kind of get programmed to feel a certain way when you hear it. Now, I already touched on this a little bit earlier, but I do want to talk about those epic moments where the epic theme song starts playing and the epic fans get epic feeling epic. Now, there are a million good examples of this. It happens in almost every anime because we tend to associate the opening theme of the show with the message and the values of the arc that it's placed in. So when they play that theme, you're reminded of everything the show stands for. As funny as it is to clown on the Tokyo Ghoul anime, the final scene of season 1 is a master class in the look how far we have come approach to music. You see, the Tokyo Ghoul intro is pretty much a small summary of the series. As the song starts, we get a lone Kaneki in a peaceful place while the lyrics come in with no track accompanying it. And as the song slowly starts to build, you see Kaneki change until at the very end of the song, his human and Ghoul side come together and Kaneki ends up with white hair in that same place. And at the end, when Kaneki finally breaks after days of torture, it all comes together and makes sense, so the theme starts to play in the background and you think, dang, everything has led up to this. Another great example of this is in Bungo Stray Dogs, when Octagawa and Atsushi finally come together in order to take down Fitzgerald. And up to this point, most of the entire series was used to highlight the rivalry between these two characters. And when they finally team up and take down a greater threat, the opening starts playing, reminding you of how far they have come and how much has changed in the series. The final example of the epic song playing at the epic moment is the king of Look How Far We Have Come anime, Gurren Lagann. Now, I've already kind of got my point across, but I just wanted to highlight the show that I think does the best job of this, because this show is consistently hype, and anytime the plot comes full circle and the values of the show is quite literally stated, they always play the intro. And it's important to remember, although the intro stays the same throughout the entire series, when the time skip from childhood to adult happens, they change the lyrics to the song. And in the very final episode, during the final clash, after Simone gives a speech that is completely full circle to the plot, finally giving meaning to the name Gurren Lagann, the intro starts playing.
My drill is the drill that creates the heavens!
But it's the very first original intro lyrics, and this scene just consistently remains the most exciting scene I've ever seen in anime. And I genuinely think if they played the second version of the intro subconsciously, it would just not hit as hard. Last example of the show using the theme, but in a different way, is One Piece. One Piece is a series with hype moments that rival that of any other anime, and with an intro as iconic as the One Piece rap.
Give it up, Solo!
I'm just joking, I'm talking about We Are. You would think that that would play during the climax of some of these fights, but it doesn't. Instead, One Piece uses its original intro as a perfect way to make you think back to the start and just see how far the characters have come. When Luffy leaves his straw hat on the stone before the time skip and leaves to get stronger, the song plays. This makes it so that they do use the song, it holds so much more weight and really makes you feel the weight of the journey that these characters have been on, more than if they just consistently played it. They also use it in a lot of sad moments, but it's the way they only use it in moments where they want you to look back. Okay, well now I've given some examples of some of the best moments where the epic theme starts playing at the epic moment, but now I want to focus on just more background music and the creative uses of it that you see in anime more than any other medium. And for this, I want to heavily focus on one show that I think does this better than most. Now, big shout out to Haralan on YouTube, as he made a masterpiece of a video that's about an hour and 28 minutes completely breaking down Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2's soundtrack. So if this video interests you, please go watch it, as he explains the music much better than I can. The soundtrack in this season is next level, and something that has so much depth to it that you might not notice upon your first watch. A great example of this is during the first episode when Gojo fights against the guy with the bag on his head, and the song that accompanies this scene can be broken up into 3 different parts that all build up along with the scene that accompanies it. The first part of this is very bare and cocky, just like Gojo is at the start of this fight, but as the fight builds up, the next section transitions to a more clear piano playing as the fight becomes a little more clear and we start to learn about their abilities. And the final part slowly builds tension as the audience wonders what Gojo is going to do as he holds his hand up. And the second Gojo breaks the glass, the soundtrack hits. The first section of this is used when finding out the enemy's abilities, the second is used when learning Gojo's ability and everything becomes more clear, and the final section is played once everything comes together for Gojo's final attack. Now, it's important to realize that the song I just played is kind of unofficially Gojo's theme song, which is important because later on when Geto is leaving Jujutsu Society and him and Gojo talk in the street, he's kind of leaving Gojo speechless in the conversation, and we hear Gojo's theme in this, but something's missing. That piano that you normally hear so strongly in his theme isn't there, and in a scene where Gojo is kind of being destroyed in a debate, the use of his theme without the main melody gives off this eerie effect that is very similar to the scene. Now, my favorite use of music, or lack thereof in this show, is when Geto starts to lose it after seeing Riko Amanai killed in front of him, and when he hears the Cole all clapping, he begins to break. He can't stand the noise of that clapping or everything that it stands for, and later on when he gets in the shower, they don't use any background music. Instead, they use the sound of the shower slowly building tension as the water running reminds him of the sound of that clapping. A similar thing happens during his conversation with Yuki, where he slowly comes to the realization of what he needs to do, all while the rain outside slowly fades into the sound of clapping. All of this finally comes to a head when Geto takes over the Cole, and that chaotic and uncontrollable clapping that once haunted Geto begins to turn more uniform and in line, until it literally becomes a song, signifying that Geto has taken control of the thing that once haunted him so much. And it's just that small attention to detail that you might miss, but it subconsciously makes those scenes hold so much weight. And there are so many more examples of moments like this throughout the series. Oftentimes in any type of media, it's really hard to just have everything go right. There are way too many people and hoops you need to jump through throughout the process, and there's bound to be be some sort of misdirection or misunderstandings when it comes to the type of music they want, and the scene that music is played in. So in a lot of shows, you end up getting soundtracks that are kind of just white noise in the background. But that is not the case with Cowboy Bebop. You see, the composer for this anime is Yoko Kanno, my favorite composer of all time. She actually made an entire band just to create the music for Cowboy Bebop, and the director Shinichiro Watanabe and Kanno worked closely together the entire time. Sometimes the songs she wrote even inspired the scene that it was played in, and she has stated that the scenes would also inspire the way she composed a song. In this show, the music is given just as much thought and care as the animation or the story have. It never outdoes what's happening on screen while also never being overshadowed by what's happening on screen. And when everything comes together perfect like that, we're given one of the most beautiful marriages of jazz and a space western story. The final thing I want to talk about is just why they're able to get so many talented artists working on these shows. Well, obviously things work differently in Japan, and instead of focusing on album plays and sales, they focus more on things like the performance of singles. And one of the very best ways to market your music is to put it in anime, the thing that's ever growing and becoming worldwide. That's why Japanese superstars like Ado are doing things like playing Uta in One Piece, and it's one of the most surefire ways to get your name out there, especially if you're lucky enough to be in a huge anime. I mean, anime has always had a track record of using popular songs for openings or endings, like Duvet from Serial Experiments Lanes, or the ending to FLCL being the Pillow's most popular song. And nowadays, we're even starting to see anime use English artists like Youngblood and One Republic doing the intro and outro for Kaiju number 8. Alright, well that's really all I have time for today, guys. I just barely watched FLCL, so I've been obsessed with anime music, and I also just think it has a really unique ability to put out songs from really big artists and just like get you enthralled in a way that it can't when it's a live action show. Anyway, anime music's peak. Thanks for watching. Peace out, y'all.